David was hungry. He was desperate. And he did what the law said was forbidden. David walked into the holy place and ate the sacred shewbread. Not just any bread, but bread reserved for priests alone. 1 Samuel 21, 1 through 6. So why didn't God punish him? And why did Jesus bring up this scandalous moment when the Pharisees accused his disciples of breaking the Sabbath? Unless David wasn't the one being exposed, organized religion was. David was on the run, hunted by Saul, starving. He arrives at Nob and asks Ahimelech, the priest, for food. But the only food available? The holy bread of the tabernacle. 12 loaves set before the presence of God. Leviticus 24, 5 through 9. Sacred, reserved, untouchable. And yet, Ahimelech gives it to David without hesitation, after verifying that he and the men with him had maintained ceremonial purity. And David eats. No plague, no lightning, no judgment, nothing. Fast forward to Matthew chapter 12. The Pharisees confront Jesus, furious about his disciples plucking grain on the Sabbath. And Jesus, knowing their obsessions with law, ritual, and tradition, drops the truth bomb in Matthew chapter 12 and verse 3. Have you not read what David did when he was hungry? These were men who lived in the scrolls. The question whether they'd read 1 Samuel, it wasn't just a jab. It was a direct challenge to their authority. Jesus is figuratively saying, if David could break a clear law and still be blameless, why can't my disciples pluck grain and eat on the Sabbath? This wasn't about food. It was about values. What matters more to God, ritual or mercy? Matthew 12 and 7. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Jesus references Hosea 6 and 6, where God rebuked Israel for performing rituals without heart. And then Jesus turns up the heat. Matthew 12 and 5. The priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless. Wait, the priests worked on the Sabbath? Killed animals, lit fires, prepared sacrifices. And they were guiltless? Why? Because function mattered more than form. God honored the purpose, not the performance. It wasn't about the ritual, it was about the reason. It wasn't the ceremony that pleased God, it was the cause. The action broke the rule, but fulfilled the purpose. He didn't violate the law, he fulfilled its spirit. The purpose of the Sabbath was greater than the performance of the action. Jesus isn't just defending his disciples, he's dismantling an entire religious framework, one that prioritized ritual over revelation and performance over presence, the letter of the law over the spirit of the law. He says in Matthew 12 and 6, in this place is one greater than the temple. Not equal, greater. The place where God's presence once dwelt on the mercy seat, on the ark, in the Holy of Holies, was now standing in human flesh in front of men too blinded by tradition to even see him. In one of their most tragic ironies, The Pharisees clung to the law, but missed the Lord, the giver of the law. They worshipped the table and the showbread, but ignored the bread of life. The point of the showbread wasn't the bread, it was what the bread represented: God's provision, God's presence, a foreshadowing of the one who would come and say in John 6:51, "I am the bread that came down from heaven." So let me ask you, a believer in the 21st century, have you replaced presence with performance? Maybe it's not worship, maybe it's just your weekly ritual. You go to church on Sunday, but is God actually meeting you there? Showing up on Sunday doesn't mean you've shown up for Him. You lift your hands, sing the song, bow your head, but did you ever enter into His presence? Going through the motions doesn't guarantee you encountered the presence. Sitting in church isn't the same as sitting with Him. Sunday attendance is easy. Surrender is not. The building can be full and your heart still be empty. You marked the day, but missed the deliverer. You kept the schedule, but lost the spirit. So, enough of that. Have you built your faith around Him, while neglecting the one who stands before you, greater than the temple, greater than the ritual, greater than organized religion? In the next episode, we'll go even deeper. The temple, the law, the rest. What did Jesus really mean when He said, "The Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath"? Subscribe and come back ready to be uncomfortable.